Yup. Okay. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. What up, Nuggets fans? Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Yes. 2025. You made it. We made it. It's a little hairy there around the edges. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Good for us. Yay, America. Yay, world. 5 to go, Oren Lamena, Key with Truth network of programming. Obviously powered by the great and mighty D-Mac, Darren McKee. This is 2025. I begin the year like this with you. The Nuggets open up against the Hawks, obviously. Looking like they're going to walk away with this thing, 126 to 102. So, 5 minutes ago, I was like, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. What's the difference, really? I'm pretty sure that In the Paint will follow me. So, Dantana. Get ready for Dantana. He'll be doing that thing. And you and I can sit here and talk about what we've noticed in this game. Talk about your New Year's resolutions, just personally, and then these. Hold on. Don't do that. What, if any, are your resolutions for your Denver Nuggets? Hold on a second. I think it's just a take, Val. Let's get this right. Reload. Back. All right. 126, 102. Nuggets up over the Hawks. It's been a good showing, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I have some thoughts on what we've seen, but I also have some thoughts on what I'm gonna do this year. I'm gonna make this thing easier on myself. So I think I went about 2024 in the right way, but I also think I went about it all wrong. Hold on one second for me. With and up the church's money is not the mode, Murphy. Of course. I love you guys and your patience. You get the real right here, boy. No commercial break to go to. When it's happening in front of you real time. Are you done acting like an asshole? Guess not. Anyway. So my Nuggets New Year's resolution is to give my guy, your guy, our guy, Jamal Murray, give him a break. I'm going to lay off the Murray hate. We got what we got. He's had a really, I think he's had a really responsible game tonight. And I just realized that at this point in time, you're basically sort of beating a dead horse to shit. There's not going to be a trade that this team makes of any appreciable value. I thought for a second that Bojan Bogdanovic sitting out tonight's game might have signaled something. I don't think that signals anything. I don't think this is a team that's going to make any trades, nor do I think it's a team that would benefit from making any trades. So with that being said, ipso facto, you got to go with what you got. 130-104, Nuggets over the visiting Hawks. Let's give ear, though, to what's happened in other places. I know Dorian Finney-Smith, his name had been thrown around like maybe that's a trade that you can make. I see a guy in Atlanta in DeAndre Hunter who, what do you have tonight? 20 in 26 minutes, 7 of 14, 3 of 5 from 3. Couple rebounds, couple of assists. If the hope was to see the Denver Nuggets view themselves as a trade away from being true contenders, I think we can all put that to bed. That's not how they see themselves, because the way that our GM has managed the roster, managed the payroll, there's just not a lot of value being had. And if Cam Johnson was on your list of trade hopefuls, Brooklyn's saying that they want a ton of picks. I don't know how they figure they're going to get all that from Cam Johnson. I mean, he's upped his shooting average, his shooting percentage this year, but still Cam Johnson. There's just not a lot that you're going to find out there on the trade market. So we got what we got. So with that being said, my Nuggets New Year's resolution is I'm going to lay off of Jamal Murray. It's kind of like when you get to the dance, you dance with who brung you. You know, for all intent and purpose, he is a cog in the championship formulaic wheel. He's a spoke, I should say, in the championship formulaic wheel. He can be and is one of the greatest postseason contributors that you can of recent history. He can be clutch, and it's never personal, but my problems with Jamal Murray have been centered pretty much around demeanor, things that, yes, on the court tend to play themselves out in effort, tend to play themselves out in decision-making. But for the most part, I think it's time for us as a Nuggets nation to embrace what we have. I'll tell you what I do love. I love Russell Westbrook's presence on this squad. I love Rusty's presence on this squad because I think it is, surprisingly enough, he's exactly what the doctor ordered for this roster, for this team, in this condition, and this group of guys. He is a guy. What up, though? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. He is the energy that this team needed. And who would have thought it? Who would have thought that the Denver Nuggets, who took the NBA world by storm, took the basketball world by storm, first of all, by, again, Joker, triple-double tonight. It's just routine now. It's like, roll out of bed, get a triple-double. What's the big thrill? Happy New Year's fishing. What's the big deal? Roll out the rack, get a trip dub. That's what Joker does. That's just what I do. Took the world by storm. Nobody knew what to do with it. They didn't know how to critique this team, and they were loath to call him what he is, the greatest basketball player, the greatest professional basketball player of this current era resides in Denver. And then the Nuggets followed suit. You had the bubble run, fall short, and then obviously they get the ring. The ring is the thing. And then, last season was, I think, one that fell short of all of our expectations. Obviously, it fell short of their own expectations. Calvin Booth hasn't really managed this roster into a space that leaves a lot of enthusiasm for their ability to fix the roster with a trade. And so you got what you got. And so when I say my New Year's Nuggets resolution is to lay off a Jamal Murray. It's kind of about being an adult. Like, quit whining about it. I know these guys can be sensitive. I know all our athletes can be very sensitive guys, and I don't know if they listen, if they hear. If they do listen and they do hear, criticism it's a part of the deal. It comes with the territory of getting paid millions of dollars to do your job. But I don't think it's productive anymore for me personally. Now, you do whatever the hell you want. I don't think it's productive any longer to opine for something, one, that we're not going to get. Not this year. Not during this season. Trade deadline's in about a month. Two, something that would actually make them better. You know, I don't think that if you're not able to, like I say, trade Canadians, trade Canadian blacks, if we can't get RJ Barrett in town for Jamal Murray, and for what I'm told, because of the apron, he just can't be moved this year. Okay. And that's my point. Now, I will say this. That's my New Year's resolution, is to lay off Jamal Murray. That's my Nuggets New Year's resolution. Mike Malone, however, though, I think this is, listen, didn't Mike Brown just get fired in Sacramento? This is the unfortunate place that a coach that I don't have a personal problem with Mike. I don't have a personal problem with any of these guys. I really don't have a problem with Mike Malone as a coach. In most conversations, I can make excuses for Mike Malone. In most conversations, I can say, look what he's getting out of his guys, right? These are pros, and he's not getting professional effort out of his guys. But you know what? You know whose head rolls? Whose head always rolls first before players get fired? Most times before GMs get fired, because GMs are making, they sit with the owner probably far more than the coaches do, unless you're Greg Popovich and you effectively play both. Sorry, Mike. If any head must roll, if anything would shake this team up too, it would be coaching. I think bringing in a more of an agitator amongst his players, a guy who really just doesn't give a shit, is trying to prove himself. Like, hey, listen, I got a job that I'm trying to earn, right? So if it's a guy, like if it's Rick Adelman's son, that takes over as the interim, or I don't even think you can really, that's the problem. The problem is can you really promote from within this coaching staff? Is Popeye Jones going to be the guy that you know what I'm saying? Can you promote from within? If you pink slip Mike Malone this season, which I don't think would actually help them through a playoff run. I just think that it would definitely send a message that big changes are coming, because who does Mike Malone advocate for most? Nikola Jokic. And then secondly, Jamal Murray. Mike Malone leaves. I think you'd see Jamal Murray leaving this offseason for sure. So I'm gonna save all my vitriol for Mike Malone. Whenever something happens like that Peyton Watson ill-advised three that he'll take and hit sometimes, and most times I'm just like, I don't understand why he's not being coached and expanding his game to things that I think are more within his skill set. Mike Malone's my guy. When you're not getting effort, championship effort, out of guys like Jamal Murray, when they're doing bonehead things like breaking John Wooden rule number 1, never leave your feet when passing the ball. Terrible, horrible. When this team's throwing the ball all over the court, I look at Mike Malone, and that's who I'm going to direct my critiques and vitriol at. So get ready, Mike Malone. I know you're shaking in your sneakers, in your coach's shoes. Ouch. He hit the hardest part of the rim that there is to hit. Vincent Jones just took a three and hit literally the hardest part of the rim that it is to hit. That like corner of the corner where the basket backboard, but this part right here, he literally hit that. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary. Malone himself. I think he's too comfortable with other players at his point, and from a personal level, I think you're right. I think it conflicts with his coaching. Pop isn't afraid to bench a player. Exactly. Because an easy decision to make in any situation during this season, because I don't think of course, the pay scale would say you never bench Jamal Murray. But the play scale says, brother, if you ain't getting it done, come over here and sit next to me, and I'm starting a guy who I know is going to give me effort. 4 games in a row, the Nuggets scored 130 plus. Sheesh. True indeed. True indeed. Not bad. And, this is the NBA where every time I hear defense being touted as like, you just got to get better defensively, it's just like, you got to get better offensively. You got to get better offensively and then prepare yourself for whatever defensive adjustments are going to be made against you, really. Yes, you have to be listen, you can't be a sieve, but this team has scoring. When you listen, if Joker is a walking triple-double, well, what's one of the triples in the triple-double? Assists. That means that you got guys that are either being put in great position to score or actually can score it. And between Julian Strawther, Michael Porter Jr., they did this, mind you, they did this without Aaron Gordon tonight. 137 so far tonight. No Aaron Gordon in the lineup. You got what you got, and you're getting good production. I love the addition of Russell Westbrook to this roster. It's so crazy to me because you never would have gotten that out of me, I think, before. Like, who's a guy that you could add to your roster that immediately fixes your culture? Like a guy who could be a culture fix. I wouldn't. Bingo card. Here comes the bingo card reference. Russell Westbrook would never be. Can I say something? Let me break for a second. They just showed, what's this guy's name? Mike Daniels for for Atlanta, and he's got the quintessential sleeve as Zeke Naji blows a layup. That guy, holy shit, Zeke Naji, man. The auto sleeve, because I know these dudes use numbing spray. See, all my tats, we put in work for these. You know what I mean? The tattoo game is so cookie cutter now. It's amazing. Anyway, let me not go down that path. A bridge too far. I thought the Westbrook trade was bad, but I think it's fine now. I'm more upset. I'm just more upset at more. Yeah, I'm there with you. But if you're like me, how do I say that? Chronoless, L-Dub. If you're like me, you got to make your New Year's resolution to lay off the. You know why? Because he's not going anywhere. We are stuck with Jamal Murray, at least for the foreseeable regular season future. And the exact antithesis of Jamal Murray as the clock winds down, 139-120, the Nuggets will win this game. The exact antithesis of Jamal Murray is Russell Westbrook. Shares the ball, plays with fire. Maybe isn't the as adept a scorer anymore as he once was, or as Jamal Murray is now. But look, as the game ends, Jamal's smiling. He's dapping guys up. This is, maybe Jamal's dealing with something that isn't often talked about, which is maybe there's a mental, emotional thing going on there. I'm not trying to, Bojan Bogdanovic was in street clothes. And I'm like, were they resting him as a favorite to the Nuggets that maybe there's a trade that brings Bogdanovic to town? Because that would be awesome. That would be awesome if we're able to work something that doesn't completely take scoring away, but because right now, like, Joker and Bojan are talking and laughing and hugging, and now he and DeAndre Jordan are talking and laughing. Is there a trade that could get Bojan in town? I would love that. That's great, but it's another game where they allowed 120 plus. Malone is supposed to be a defensive coach. Is this the George Karl team again? My problem with George Karl was that I don't know if that dude really. I thought that Russell Westbrook is with Vic Lombardi. I I thought the problem with George Karl is that he kind of substituted basketball as a game of flow and sharing the ball and for actually being able to draw up things offensively. I think that, and that's why he has the single worst coaching record, postseason coaching record in the history of the NBA. Because in the postseason, you got to be able to draw it up. It's not regular season basketball where you just roll the balls out and let guys do whatever the hell they want. I love the two-man sort of thing between Russ and Joker. And I think that if Mike Malone wants to regain the confidence, at least of this fan in this fan base, I need you to show the ability to have a heavy hand with the guys who you love and coddle, and you just have this love affair with Jamal Murray. Okay, that's great. When he's not giving you the effort that you need, you got a guy, I think, in Russell Westbrook who fits into that two-man game. It's a swap out. It's an easy swap out, and you're swapping out what you hope is microwavable scoring, because Jamal can fill it up whenever he's motivated, for effort, defense, cohesion, things that, chemistry, things that matter in getting the most out of the Joker minutes. And you make the non-Joker minutes more potent offensively because you do have an adept scorer in. The problem with the non-Joker minutes when it is Russ is that, let's be honest, if we're all being honest with ourselves, Russ isn't the scorer that he used to be. I've seen that man blow. Chris Marlowe said something like, Russell Westbrook his finishing has been incredible this year. And I'm like, are we watching the same guy blow bunnies and layups? I don't think we are. I love Chris Marlowe. I love his demeanor. He's got the biggest head in broadcasting. That's neither here nor there. I'm just saying, this is a Mike Malone. This is your time to shine. Fishin is watching. I'm watching. Dad Solo's watching. Chronolist LW's watching. What is Chronolist for? Help me understand. Does that mean you are without watch? You are sans watch? You're chrono as in time, chronolist. Are you timekeeping instrument? Which I sans watch. Arm tat, sans watch. We go sans watch. Sans watch is no watch. Those who talk don't know. Those who know don't talk. I think this is the time for Mike Malone to step up and show me what you got, Malone. Show me what you're working with. What's the deal? How do you get more out of your roster? Let's talk about what they did in this game, though, and then we can get back to that. So, all your starters in double figures. Can't be mad at that. $21 for MPJ, 23 for Joker, triple-double, 23, 17, and 15. It's unfair how good he is at basketball. It really is. Russell Westbrook obviously into the starting lineup for the missing Aaron Gordon. What's Aaron Gordon out with, by the way? Anybody who knows, put it in the chat. What injury is Aaron Gordon dealing with that he missed this game? Russell Westbrook, and look at this. You get 26 assists out of Westbrook and Joker combined as he double-doubles. That is devastating. That is the type of basketball that can really, really put this team back into contention. And I'll tell you why. Because, again, if Russell's getting double-digit assists and Joker's getting double-digit assists, that means that there's a flow to the game that other guys, including both Russ and Joker, benefiting off each other's assist to one another. There's a flow developing in this offense. And NBA wide, now if the Nuggets have scored 130 plus in the last 4 games, they're no longer out of the conversation of being able. The NBA is about, can you run it up or not? Especially in the regular season. Can you run it up or not? Postseason, yeah, you're going to have to figure some things out defensively, but that's one of those we'll cross that bridge when we come to it type deals. And you got 26 assists out of Westbrook and Jokic. That's, I mean, just think about that. The Nuggets as a team had 44 assists, 26 of which came from two of your guys. Jamal pitches in with 21, 2 assists, 6 of 14 from the field. Like this is so when you say this, Patrick, Murray is playing great now. Great. You call 6 of 14 great. I'm not taking shots at you. I'm saying we've lowered the bar for this guy. We have lowered the bar for what is great. If you're going to give me 6 of 14, okay, that's just below 50%. Let me get off. I said I was going to do it. I'm sorry. I had 2024 glasses on just now. My 2025 resolution, my Nuggets resolution for 2025 is I'm laying off Jamal Murray. 2 of 5 from the field, responsible enough game. I'm fine with it. 7 of 9 for Christian Braun, scores 15. But you see that? 7 of 9. The efficiency there. But they scored 139, so I'm not even mad. I'm laying off of Jamal. I told you, I'm laying off Jamal. I'm not going to be hypercritical or nothing. 11 Nuggets get into the scoring column. Obviously, there was a lot of garbage time there. Really good production from Peyton Watson, although 1 of 4 from three-point. I'm just not ever going to. There's nothing about Peyton Watson's jumper that tells me he should be jacking it up from 3, but whatever. 4 of 10 from the field. Chris and Julian Strawther. 6 of 12 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, scores 13. And then you got your also Rans who got in. DeAndre Jordan actually played really valuable minutes in the non-Joker minutes because obviously you're not going to get anything out of the name that shall not be named. The guy who was traded for Dario Saric was brought to town. He won't be named after this. Fishing. I don't need you checking in on my resolutions, bruh. Are they better without AG? Yeah, there's a flow thing when it comes to AG has this. He's got smoker's face. When I say smoker's face, there's these times when he'll make mistakes and you're just looking at him and it's this vacant kind of jaw agape, high guy, guy on the couch kind of stare that I get from energy that I get from AG sometimes. No, they're not better without AG. But again, you're talking about a guy whose contributions are surprisingly enough easily replaced by your Swiss Army knife. That's what Russell Westbrook is to the Nuggets. He is their Swiss Army knife. What can he not do becomes the question. And it's gonna be interesting to see how down the stretch Mike Malone works this roster because I think Russell Westbrook demands. He's played himself into a pivotal role. He demands minutes where guys are not giving you focus because oftentimes what I see with this team, where the buck stops and where they fall short is focus, just championship effort. Not being a fucking bonehead. What are your thoughts on Atlanta rookie Zach Rishish? That's the 19-year-old kid, right? He played his ass off. I thought he had a good game tonight. 31 minutes. Love his jumper. He only put 13 in. So he's got the green light to jack it up there, but I thought he played well tonight, and he's young. So my whole thing with these 19-year-olds is as a fan, I'm not paying to watch a guy develop on the pro level. I need you to step in as a pro. That might be asking a lot, but I just personally it just isn't. It's not my bag, but I like them. And I think, I'm always looking at other people's pantries, trying to see what we can raid. And I think that you might have a trade partner in Atlanta because of the relationship between MPJ and Trey Young. And so I would love to get back young talent like that. Somebody who I think actually would fill the uh, Peyton Watson minutes. I love Peyton from he was with the team when they won the ring, sort of sentimental value thing. I like when he's active, but I just feel like Peyton, no one has sat him down and been like, "Well, okay, what are we doing here? Let's work on how can you be more of a less of a wild card offensively. What can we do with your offense?" That's my thing with Peyton Watson. So, and I would love to replace that with a guy who you just see can fill it up. And that I can't pronounce his last name. Rishacker. You can tell there's offensive game there. He can just fill it up. So those are my thoughts. Is this team ever going to remember how to actually play defense, or is Malone coaching going to continue to be a liability with this team? Well, I mean, you got to take a couple things into consideration when you say that. That would be, you lost in succession. You lost 3 really good, I think, defensive cogs to the wheel. And now, Jeff Green, for whatever it's worth, Green, Brown, and Orlando. It'll come back to me. You got what you got. And I don't think that, I never thought that this team that its laurels rested upon its defensive wizardry. Its laurels rest upon having the best player in the game as your centerpiece. KCP, thank you. And so you lose in succession 3 guys that just on their defense on the NBA level is literally an effort. It's an effort proposition. It's a professionalism proposition. There's no coach out there drawing up these great defensive schemes. Everybody has the guy that they're going to focus on. How are you going to play him? What hand does he like to go to best? How are you going to keep him away from his spots on the floor? That's defense in the NBA. Everything else is up to these guys as professionals. Who takes it seriously or not? Who takes the challenge seriously? AG is one of those guys. He takes the challenge seriously. KCP was one of those guys. He took the challenge of guarding the best player seriously. And yes, there are schemes, and there's, hey, with this guy, what our deal is, we're going to force him left. He's not best going left. We're going to keep him off of his spots, running these guys off the 3-point line. At the end of the day, though, do you think Mike Malone is out there drawing up? Do you think he was drawing up these great defensive schemes, and that's what won this team a champ? No. You had veterans, guys who took their professional basketball careers seriously, and it showed in their effort. You got that back in Russell Westbrook. This is a team that when it plays its worst basketball, I see lethargy. You tell me what you see. I see guys who are like, I'm saving myself for whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? It's a long season. I don't want to burn myself out, all that shit. Okay, cool. That's great. It looks terrible on the court, so fucking fix it. And that's what I see. I see guys who got rings, got bread, and really don't see the need in approaching the regular season with any sense of urgency, that it matters how you're playing when you're in those first 20 games, those first 40 games. It matters how you're playing in those games, because that's what sets you up to go through that second half of the season, being able to manage your energy, not taking games off, but, you've built yourself a cushion. You have a cohesion. So I just don't think that it's a Mike Malone's going to draw up these great defensive schemes, and that's what the saving grace that's awaiting the Nuggets, that it's a championship effort. Look at their offensive output the last 4 games. Look no further than the fact that they have seemingly found a flow. They're not throwing the ball all over the court. Their turnovers are somewhat down. That's really the key. It's how seriously do you guys take this game? You got back-to-back games coming up in against San Antonio, the home and away thing that they're doing again. What do you guys like? Do you guys like that? I don't know how I feel about it, but you got back-to-back games coming up against the Spurs. So that's Friday, Saturday. Then you got Boston at the crib. You got Boston at the crib, back-to-back nights. Boston and then LA at the crib, and then Brooklyn at the crib, and then you go on the road for 2. This schedule going forward is crazy. The longest road stretch comes toward the end of January, where you're on the road January 25th through February 1st for 6 games. And everything up to that is a hodgepodge of home and away. 2 at home, 3 at home, 2 at home. 2 at home, 3 on the road. You got another back-to-back setup, the middle of this month with Dallas. Like, what's the deal with these home and home? Well, this is back-to-back home games. They play back-to-back home games in Dallas, the 12th through the 14th. So you play in Dallas on the 12th, get the night off, then you play Dallas again on the 12th. What the fuck is with the schedule? Imagine how well this team could have performed if Murray had taken the start of the season. I agree. Astrid, I think that is championship teams. There is a formula to being a number 1, 2, 3 seed in the NBA playoffs, and then using that to your advantage to advance to at least the quarterfinals, if not the the Western Conference Finals, and then move or the finals, and then moving on to the finals. And it's really about the teams that get out of the gate early, well, find their identity and play within that, find their cohesion, and then manage their effort down the stretch. It's really that. And then there's the games that you're going to get up for because it's, a rival, or it's a division rival, or you're playing for something, or you're just feeling dominant. And when one of your better players comes out and his effort and his energy is shit, which is what 2024, what we saw in 2024 from Jamal Murray, hey, I'm off the Jamal Murray hate train. That is my 2025 resolution, and I will stick to it, because I know if I don't, Fishing's going to be here waiting to remind me how quickly I fell off. How's Malone's hot seat? He needs to watch his ass. They smart. You better watch your ass. That's because they smart. Because I think that's the change. If this team falls into, a slump, this is not a team that can afford. That's what you also played yourself into, right? You're 5-6 games above 500 now, which isn't bad. Take it for what it's worth. This is a 19-13 squad. So you're 5-6 games over 500. 6 games, above 500. In essence, you lose 3 games. They're really 3 games above 500. If you shaved 3 out of the win column, they'd be 16-16. So they're really 3 games above 500. But you're playing within string now. But this isn't a team that can afford a 5-game skid. Let's look at the standings. How was your New Year's, by the way? I just jumped into it. Cheap date, huh? Did you do anything special for New Year's? Did you wake up with a hangover today? Were you hung over? I am hung over. Let's see where the Nuggets sit in the West, and then I'll get back to your comments. So you're the 4th. You're 4th in the West right now. All the teams in front of you. OKC, I don't see a giant there. Memphis, I think we all know what we're dealing with in Memphis. Houston, paper tiger. Watch out for them. They've got young talent. They've figured something out. Dylan Brooks adds that sort of agitator essence to them. But come on, do you see the Houston Rockets representing the West in the NBA Finals? Of course you don't. Neither do I. And the Nuggets sit at the 4 seed. It's really been a flip-flop. Like teams like Minnesota that we expected to be much, much better. Golden State came back down to earth. It's going to be a dogfight out of the West, though. It's going to be a dogfight out of the West. And so at this point, it's kind of no harm, no foul. But you are also a 4-game skid away from being the 8th seed. You see the problem with where you played yourself in a you have the best player in basketball. You have more than enough talent kind of around him as long as guys understand their role and don't play outside of it. You know, you have more than enough talent around the best player in basketball to have been far and away the number 1 seed, or at least the number 2 seed right now. That's what you screwed off. You know, those Knicks losses, think about the games that they lost, those Portland losses. Think about the games that they lost just from not being, to me, professionals. That's the difference. And that's the difference that ends up being the difference down the stretch. You can't get those games back. Daniel says, do you think Malone's seat is the hottest in basketball due to the atrocious defense? You're going to keep hammering that. Hottest in basketball? I think most NBA coaches right now should all be ashamed of themselves that they've all bought into this, you know, just shoot the three, just everybody shoot it. It's green light for everybody. I think all coaches should be on the hot seat for that shit. I think there's guys on your team that you should say, no, what we're going to do is you're going to work on better aspects of your game, or you're going to come over here and sit with me, and I'm going to find guys that know how to play basketball. Because none of you guys, like, think about the league. Think about what the league was when it came to three-point shooters. And I don't need to go back to the 90s and the days of Steve Kerr and whatever, but just think about how three-point shooting was designed for specialists who could shoot the ball, and everybody else knew how to score within the arc. And now you just have everybody has the green light to jack it up. All NBA coaches should be on the hot seat for that shit. Honestly, that's not a Mike Malone thing. Teams that don't take games off in October and November for high school volleyball games don't have to go out. Exactly, fishing. That's the point. You're getting paid. Like, this is your work time. By the way, you're on the clock. From the minute they tip off the first game of the NBA season, motherfucker, you're on the clock. I don't give a damn what your leisure needs to be. That was what the offseason was for. And if you played Olympic basketball for your country, that's a choice you made. Don't nobody want to hear that shit. That's why they pay you the big bucks. At least we don't have to worry about the abs at all. Well, they're trying to figure it out between the pipes, aren't they? I'm not a Cat fan, but you don't get better losing him. No, you did not get better. I don't know what that was. Tim Conley is going to have to explain that to me. Ruined the chemistry on that team. And he's thriving in New York. And by the way, you did the Nuggets a favor, because he's a Joker killer. Not many people can say that. He's one of the guys that can say that. Do you think there'll be a trade? I would be surprised if there is no trade. I'd be surprised now if there is one. Although, again, I don't know what's wrong with Bojan Bogdanovic and why he didn't play, but I thought it was interesting that he was in street clothes. Maybe Calvin Booth has something working that could get him to town along with their Murray. If you could get their DeAndre Murray, you know, in exchange for listen, I like what we've gotten out of MPJ for sure. I would hate to be honest with you, to see him blossom on somebody else's roster. But one thing we can all be assured of, if he goes to Atlanta, that's where careers go to die. So at least we don't have to worry it come back and biting us in the ass. I'd be willing to move him along just to get some more assured offensive firepower. Guys who can play with Joker. We can all agree that Joker has already clinched MVP again. Nobody in the NBA is even on Joker. It's not even close. And if there is an argument, I'm willing to say this. If there is an argument about Joker being the best player in this year's NBA, not that he's not in every year's NBA, that he's healthy to play, it's the R word. What are your thoughts on how the NBA schedules the Christmas games? Should there be a change, like the number one team in the East versus the number one team in flex games? That wouldn't be bad. I like that as an idea. Who's that? Juan? Hold on, Juan. Hold on, Juan. Let me give you a bomb for that. Adam Silver has been trying everything in his power. He's been trying everything in his power to get interest, to drum up interest, because ratings are plummeting. Don't perk us. Okay. I won't fishing. Okay. I got you. I fuck with fishing heavy. Listen, it's the no, listen why I'm saying. Listen why I'm saying this. Yeah, that is reverse R wordism. If you're not willing to recognize what's blatant in front of your face, it's because you just can't see yourself. You can't picture yourself in a league where Anthony Edwards is out dunking on all of his opponents and Trey Young's jacking it up from wherever, and you still got, Steph Curry playing meaningful minutes, and you got KD Trey 5, doing what he's doing, being the easiest, money sniper that easy money snipers could ever hand you. There's all these pretty packages in the NBA. There's all these pretty packages in the NBA, but there is truly only one person. I think the only guy who might have an argument is Jason Tatum. I think there's only one guy who you could say is more valuable and therefore worthy of conversation of best player in basketball other than Joker, and it's Jason Tatum. I think everyone else is just a really pretty sports car. Everybody else, and so then, we know who the punditry is made up of and who covers, and I don't mind it. I'm black. But I do believe that what stole Joker should be is less one MVP because of, I won't call it reverse R-ism at that point. I think it was just more so that thing that people do, like, you can't give him 3 in a row, and it's like, why? If he's the best, what are we talking about? You might not like it. He don't jump out the gym, but tell me who's better at doing their job all the way around than he is. And these guys are paid to play basketball, right? They're not, dunking is part of it, sure. Looking good doing it. And he does look good doing it. He's got a style his own. Like, it's crazy to me. The Joker hate is always crazy to me because I know what it's based around. I've had Twitter arguments. I've had arguments with these morons about this shit. And what it comes down to is, you don't look good doing it. Shut the fuck up. Is it time to give the Broncos Thanksgiving, Christmas game? Nobody wants to talk about the Broncos right now. You talk about the Broncos on your time. SGA, okay. Pretty damn good. MVP, pretty damn good. No question. Straw that stirs the Oklahoma City Thunder drink, without question. Most valuable player in basketball, he's pretty damn good. Don't you think his contributions could be replicated? He's been given the green light. He's a great scorer. SGA has been given the green light to do whatever the he wants, and he's really good at doing it. But I'll tell you this, I've seen SGA before. James Harden. We've seen it before. Great scorers are almost a dime a dozen on the NBA level. Could SGA's contributions be replaced? That's a loaded squad. They're not good solely because of his presence. That team in Oklahoma City is loaded with guys that got chips on their shoulders, love to play active professional basketball. They love to defend. And I don't think that's anything that they're really being coached up to have to do. They just seem to like getting after it. Watch an Oklahoma City Thunder game. Everybody's active. It's like watching Minnesota in years past, and now for whatever reason they've completely fallen off the mark. I loved Anthony Edwards. He had a quote last year where he basically called his team out like, we're just not pros. We're just not pros. And it's like, that's the guy who gets it. I think they're going to use it against him for a fourth. I could see it. I could see this whole, you can't give him his fourth. Why? If he's the best, fuck all your optics. This is the problem. The royal they, as in the royal y'all, they, has spent so much time trying to make everything work about drawing attention to the NBA except making the basketball better. Make the basketball good. And then if you build it, they will come. People will follow. We're sports fans. We're very savvy. We know when we're being handed PR and shiny things versus great basketball. And this whole, all-star game, pickup basketball bullshit, that ain't going to do it. the Emirates Cup mid-season tournament. That ain't gonna do it. Make the basketball better, and you'll get people who love watching good basketball. The NBA is almost unwatchable basketball most nights. How's this? What is Detroit without Cade? I love Cade Cunningham, so you're never going to get me to argue. I think Cade Cunningham is unfortunately languishing in right now what is basketball purgatory. I like basketball is better when the Pistons are good. And when the Pistons are bad, that I think is a sign as to what's the barometer. I think Detroit is the barometer for NBA basketball, like the brand of basketball. And it's just Cade Cunningham is trapped in basketball purgatory. It sucks. It sucks for him and it sucks for basketball fans because you'll never see him play and see and understand why those of us who love Cade Cunningham love Cade Cunningham. You'll never see it. They'll never be on TV, nor should they. And it sucks. It sucks for him. And the only thing I could think that would make basketball better is really to get rid of two teams. Like expansion, you need to consolidate talent. And obviously, you're not going to get rid of any more teams. Nobody takes less money. Nobody does that. The NBA should abolish conference and create a playoff of the top 16 teams. That could work, Astrid. That could work. And the reason that could work is because now the reseeding, it just makes it more compelling. I think that could work. But I don't think that you see that, like, where in any sport is that would be so unprecedented that they don't conference up. It would be so unprecedented that I just think it's a bridge too far for narrow minds. How could you improve the product on the court? Is there a way that I was thinking about this watching the game? Because let me see. The Nuggets took in this game. Atlanta took 46 3-pointers. They took 46 3-pointers. Now I know they have one tray. They have one tray. Who the fuck else needs to be shooting that many 3-point? Like, that to me this is why. And the Nuggets took 30. I love that better. Trust me. I love that much better. And only had 12 turnovers. I think you should give a turn. I think ill-advised threes should also count as turnovers. I think threes that result in an immediate bucket scored there has to be a way to dissuade players from just jacking it up because coaches are like, okay, we can't do this anymore. And obviously you can't give technical fouls out for guys shooting 3-pointers that they shouldn't shoot. Although I think you should. Maybe turn it into a 4-point shot. I don't know. But all I know is that there are far too many guys who have the green light to be shooting and the whole rest of the court is forgotten about. So if it's not a layup, it's a 3. It's fucking annoying. What cities do you think should get an NBA franchise? Good basketball cities. Louisville, Kentucky should get an NBA franchise. Great basketball city. The best way to improve the product is to make the players better and make them stay in college and develop. But it'll never happen now that paid athletes are no longer student athletes. Well, here's the thing, though, Fishing, to that point. I think that now that guys are getting paid on the college level, you'll see less guys hopping to the NBA level after their freshman year. So I think actually as NIL gets reeled in, like Cooper Flagg more than likely is leaving after his freshman season at Duke. And I think he should. But Cooper Flagg is an anomaly. There's a kid who plays for Rutgers. His name's going to escape me now. Really, really, really good basketball player. Stay in college, young man. You know what I mean? Like, get your bread. The NBA doesn't need more young players developing. And I think your point is salient that getting better basketball players increase overseas scouts, increase your relationships with overseas professional teams. Like, conscript those teams as minor league affiliates and eliminate this straight to the NBA pipeline. Eliminate it. No one wants to see these guys try and turn into pros while in the pros. Go over there, dude. Go over there, handle your business. And if you should realize NBA greatness, then it's going to come to you. But this entering the league at 19, there's only one Victor Wembanyama, and you know it. There's Cooper Flagg. If you watch him play, he's NBA ready right now. Cooper Flagg he's one of them ones. He's one of them ones, but they're few and far between. 6'10" doesn't mean that you're ready for the NBA. 6'10" and can dunk doesn't mean you're ready for the NBA. 6'10" and can dunk and, put up 30 a night against, never will be's does not constitute that you're ready for the NBA. But that's what all these kids are getting. And I just think that if you can create a pipeline overseas, you'll see better basketball players, professionals, coming over and playing in the NBA. And then, hey, young man, if you can take this dude's job, take Slobodan's job. No one said it's his to keep for good, but I think that the point is that the little cute little switch ups isn't how you improve the basketball. You improve the basketball by improving the basketball players. This is the most instrumental point. You improve the basketball by improving the basketball players. And somehow you have to do this. The NBA should limit the number of three-pointers a team can take in a game. That's hard because who's keeping track of that number? But I think it has done a disservice to a beautiful game. It's done a disservice to a beautiful game. And I'll get to your point here in a minute, because the G League, you're like, well, what about the G League? The G League is trash and they need to revamp it. And maybe even highlight it more so that those games are televised and that there's incentive to be playing good basketball. Limit the number of three-pointers a team can take in a game is hard, but there's got to be a way that you force these young basketball players to learn how to play within the perimeter. Everybody's got to dribble between, step back. And it's like, that's not all y'all's game. There's 94 feet of court, and a lot of that exists beneath the three-point line. What the fuck is everybody doing? Stop it. You're not Steph. Stop it. You might be able to pull a rabbit out of the hat and a three out of your ass every once in a while, but for the most part, all of y'all are sub 40% three-point shooters for the most part. Stop jacking that shit up. You know how I know that not everybody deserves to be shooting it? Because the best player in basketball also holds the best three-point percentage currently in the NBA. He's a center. He plays in Denver, and he's also able to record a triple-double every night and never shoots 33s. What the it's so annoying to watch. Should the NBA G League team be in the same cities and the NBA teams that they play in? Yes, yes, and yes. I think that basketball has done the opposite of what baseball did. You have a large pool of guys that are deserving of or that you need to have a large pool of guys that you can pull from and pull up. Like, how bad does the Nuggets G League team have to be that we are hamstrung because we can't make a trade for anyone and don't have any reserves coming? How bad is your developmental pipeline when you don't have a kid down in the G League right now putting up 30 a night that's worth a shot to replace Dario Saric's useless self? I'm also going to make another resolution. I'm going to be less harsh in my language. Not that I'm going to stop cursing, but I'm not going to take personal things that would seem like personal attacks at guys. But as a basketball player, Dario Saric is fucking useless. So there's that. Perfect example would be the 3 players CU had. Why not stay another season and develop your game while playing? Exactly. Now they're just getting paid to be G Leaguers and they aren't playing important minutes. Exactly. It's so what you can only hope is that so you got NIL, college, G League, figure out what you're going to do with it and combine G League with overseas so that G League is expanded. And the pipeline goes something like high school, college type guy into the minors, unless you're Ken Griffey fucking Jr. You go into the minors and you play your way up to notoriety. If you're not worth the shot, you need to be down there developing your game. Peyton Watson is wasting all of our time. And it's not Peyton Watson's fault because he came out as a 19-year-old out of UCLA and no one said, yeah, he's long. Yeah, he's athletic, but this dude has no discernible basketball game. And long and athletic is not a discernible basketball game where now currently most everybody, with the exception of Jalen Pickett, is long and athletic. That's not a game. What's your game? Do you have a game? And that is, it's and these guys, these GMs can't help themselves. They cannot help themselves. They got to gamble on a long shot. And I'm like, okay, you got to pick him. He decided to leave. You go straight into the minors, young man. And we'll bring over a pro from overseas who's been playing professional basketball, who knows how to play within who's coachable, who knows how to play within the structure on offense. And yes, maybe you force the fringe fan to learn more about the game and not just look for dunks and three-pointers, but your game would be better. And therefore, it would be more competitive. And when it's more competitive, everybody's having fun. But if you design the NBA to entertain women of low moral fiber who like to sit courtside, I'm not just taking shots at them, and rappers because they like to dap up, their favorite dunker. And if you're encouraging them to be the fan, your game will go the way of baseball and hockey very soon. No one needs basketball. Let's keep it a buck. No one needs it when you got the NBA. I mean, you have the NFL playing concurrent. And then you can fight it out for baseball relevance, for baseball. And I'm telling you this right now, hockey is a better product. It might not be better promoted, but when it comes to the game, it's a better product than basketball right now. The Avs might not be better for Avs fan, that sucks. But hockey is a better product on the field or the rink on the field of play. It's more fun to watch because you're watching the best and they're very skilled at what they do. Yeah, the teams that are bad, but that happens everywhere. Bad teams play bad. But when you're watching the best in the NBA, what's the difference between the best team and the worst team? They all play the same brand of basketball. Some guys are just better at jacking up 53s a game and hitting 20% of them. 40% of them. Jack up 63s in a game. Yeah, I guess you are going to. But it's terrible for the fan to watch. So it's like, yeah, you want your game to go the way of baseball? Go ahead. Keep fucking around. Fuck around and find out. Overseas players are way more devolved and way more fundamental. Do you mean evolved or devolved? That's why Serbia was the best. Yeah, exactly. When they expand the international scouts, players will be. I'm telling you, I just need for Adam Silver to get a hold of yourself, Nosferatu. I know you're the walking undead. You spend all your nights awake, and so then you're asleep during the day. Get a hold of yourself and just make some hardline decisions. If you guys are just throwing money around, cool. But only the best basketball players are going to play in this, and this is how I'm going to set it up. I develop relationships with my overseas teams. I turn the G League sort of overseas thing into one tier or one or two tiers of our minor league system, and then you have college basically as your de facto third tier. And you got to work your way up. How many baseball players go straight from the minors for a cup of coffee? It doesn't happen. So you get the Juan Sotos every once in a while, and everybody else has to work their way up through the minors. That's how basketball should be run. And you just get a better product on. People are stopping watching. I know you find it terrible to believe, but Shaq and Kenny and Charles aren't enough to keep people watching terrible basketball. Fix the basketball. And that's an easy fix. Make these people become professionals, not professional athletes, professional basketball players. And there is a difference. Huge difference. Massive difference. Mountainous difference between professional athlete and professional basketball player. Please, for the love of God, just give us professional basketball players. Then it wouldn't be such a debate whether or not Nikola Jokic is the best player in basketball when it's obvious. And if Kendrick Perkins can't find a way to snap his head and roll his head and talk about basketball as it's played. Find me an analyst that can just stomach the fact that I could use less catchphrases, a lot less catchphrases and girl child and all that, and just a lot better basketball. That's all we want. That's all basketball fans want. They want to see great professional basketball being played. Funny, weird. That was a hell of a rant. I did that to myself. All right. I think I'm done here. I think what I've done here has been good work. I ain't gonna lie to you. Is there anybody else who has any New Year's Nuggets resolutions before I get out of here? Bueller? Anyone? Bueller? Let him cook.
Talk that talk.
F-O-R-E-N.
Okay, all right.
That's all we want. Quite honestly, we just want better basketball. Give Mike Malone somebody that's coachable, that doesn't roll their eyes at the thought that they're being asked to give effort. That's crazy. I know that's crazy. What would you do to fix sports streaming and how to watch sports season? That's a whole other conversation. You know, here's the deal, real quick before I get out of here. To all of the moneymakers. To all the moneymakers, you've eaten until you're filled, and your sports are dying on the vine. Like to the NBA app, you need to open that thing up and make it free because nobody gives a shit about your sport anyway. You're just driving people away. No one wants to pay for. You're paying a subscription to watch a bunch of amateurs to watch pickup basketball. Just open it up, Adam Silver. Make it free. Draw people into your game by giving them some shit. You're not gonna lose nothing. You still got cable. You still got cable deals. Streaming is not going anywhere, and I know many a pirate site. If you guys want to meet up with me in a dark corner of the internet, not for anything too wild, I'll show you all the streaming sites. We're not going nowhere. The pirate is necessary. We balance the scales, and I do say we. Should NBA contracts be based on performance? Yes. Absolutely, Astrid. I wish that it were more like the NFL, and I hate saying that because I think that one of the most hideous things about the NFL is the violence of the sport and the non-guaranteed contract, where they can just use your body up and then jettison you. But to be quite honest with you, as a fan, it just makes the sport better, doesn't it? Is there any question as to why the NFL is always at least still a good product to watch? Because guys are literally playing for their lives. And desperation has a way of bringing out the best in people. It's just what it is. It's sad to say, but it is what it is. And, you know, until you know, especially basketball players, because they're so coddled from the minute they're seen as a great dribbler, from the minute that anyone knows that they have some modicum of talent, it's over. They're coddled. And so these guys, the worst attitudes. So it's like, yeah, performance-based contracts would really help. But the NBA's Player Association is also doing their job. They're doing exactly what they should be doing, which is they've fought long and hard for their players to have, padded behinds and the most cushy deal ever. And power never relinquishes power once it has it. That's the key. So their Players Association is doing exactly what they're doing. So there'll never be performance-based contracts in the NBA. You know why? Because the minute you have performance-based contracts in the NBA, everybody's held to a different standard. Now, if the players care about their sport going the way of the dinosaur, they'd be smart to do that. And just looking at the guys behind them and being like, I don't care that it's my job to make sure that you earn the next, so the next guy can earn the next, and the next guy can earn. You guys are ruining our sport because you don't play it. You're doing something else. Like it has the look and feel of basketball, but it ain't basketball, brother. Good stuff on a Monday, man. Thank you so much. Hey, listen, y'all. 2025, we all have it in front of us to create the world that we want, see the world that we want, and shape what we have into that world. And if we got to stop watching basketball and find something else to put our interest in, I'm with y'all. Let's take it to pickleball or something. We as sports fans need to band together and stick together and get fucking value for our attention and our dollars.
OREN.
That's That's the last thing I have to say. I appreciate all y'all who decided to spend some of your evening with me. Let me, talk my shit. Let me see if I can go through get these cats in here. So, Astrid.
Every day in my hood, I bang. I'm a nice worker.
Of course, my man Fishing.
Every day in my hood, I bang. I'm a nice worker.
Juan Holguin. I hope I pronounced that right.
Every day in my hood, I bang. I'm a nice worker.
My guy, Daniel, always looking to get Coach Malone fired. I fuck with you, Daniel. You are nothing if not a modicum of consistency. You are a pillar of consistency. Chronolist, LW.
Every day in my hood, I bang. I'm a nice worker.
Who else I miss? I miss anybody? I don't think I missed Patrick.
Every day in my hood, I bang. I'm a nice worker.
All right. Dad Solo.
Every day in my hood, I bang. I'm a nice worker.
None of this works if you guys don't participate. I mean, it does work. I could just sit here and talk to myself, but what fun would that be? I do that every day. I do that all the time, all day, every day. I talk to myself. So it's good to get in here and chop it up with y'all. We'll be back at you on a rebound with the Medicine. This, I promise you, Oren Lamena, good news travel fast. It's going to be a great year. Lots of stuff coming. I will explain it in the days to come. You already know where you're at. You know that Kill You With Truth Network is always bringing you the best in truthful commentary. So stick and stay, true believers.